Welcome back, everybody. It is the first video of 2025, which means there's a lot more people who are starting to think about ways that they can improve their health, their fitness, and strength. And so what I wanted to do as we start the new year is start a series of videos about how to start strength training at home, because there is a big chunk of people who aren't interested in going to the gym, especially as you get older and you start to deal with more joint pain. The gym is just not an environment that a lot of people like. And so what I wanted to do with this first video is just talk about what equipment you need at home. And the good news is that it doesn't need to be big and expensive equipment to build strength for less joint pain. In fact, most of the equipment that you need can fit inside a closet and will only cost you a few $100. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first piece of equipment you'll want to look at purchasing is a foam roller. And so I use my foam roller primarily for the mobility exercises I do in my programming. So if you'll remember, the three things that we want to improve with our strength training routine is improving movement coordination, strength, and mobility. So restoring motion to these stuck joints. And the foam roller has a lot of great exercises you can do to improve mobility. Now, in terms of what foam roller to get, I'm not a big brand guy on a lot of this equipment, but with the foam roller, I am a little bit. I really like this Trigger Point brand. And the reason is because the outside is this nice soft foam. So it is a little bit more comfortable than a really stiff foam roller. But then it also has this plastic, at least I think it's plastic, ring on the inside, which prevents it from deforming the more you use it. So it maintains its shape while being more comfortable. Now within this brand, there are two different ones. This is the half size. You can also get the full length. Again, if you have the resources, get the full length. But most of the exercises that you can do with the half length. Now let's talk about the type of bands that you'll want for your home gym setup. Bands are a great way to start adding resistance to a lot of your strength training exercises so that you can continue to build strength in a safe manner before you get to the really heavy weights. And there are three types that I use here at the clinic. The first are these 8-inch circular mini bands. This is a great way to add resistance to exercises like clamshells, monster walks, even air squats. You just put them around your knees and it further engages those hip muscles. In terms of resistance, the colors vary depending on the brand, but if you're doing Perform Better, which is what I use, I primarily use the green and the blue for most of my exercises. The green is the lighter, the blue gets the heavier, and that's usually enough for people to get the strength they need from these bands. The next type of bands that we want to look into are these red and black rubber resistance bands. Now, these are a great way to start targeting your upper body. So I do a lot of rows variations with these when I'm working on shoulder pain, but you can also include them in exercises like the banded glute bridge or the banded hip hinge to start adding resistance so that you can start to perfect those movements while adding a little bit of resistance, which just helps further ingrain it in your brain. Again, these are red rubber resistance bands. I use this Functional Fitness brand, but again, there are a lot of different brands for this. The red is about, I believe, 20 to 35 pounds resistance, and the black is 35 to 50. And again, that's usually all you need from there. And the third type of band that I use is more like a traditional physical therapy band. And I usually only use this for shoulder work. These are the CLX bands. And what I like about these ones versus the traditional physical therapy is they have handles you can hold, and they go all the way down the band. All these little sections have little handles, which just allow you an easier grip so you can better perform the exercises. But in terms of bands you need, those are the three. Another piece of equipment that I really like is a simple yoga block. So the yoga block is a great way to add a little bit of a step or height for a lot of our lower body or knee pain exercises. And again, if your home gym does have a stair, you can obviously use stairs, but for a lot of people that would require kind of walking back and forth to wherever the stair is, which they don't want to do. So if you want to add a step without needing to go all the way to your stairs, a yoga block is a great way to do that. And again, having two is nice because then you can do a little bit of a higher step. The next piece of equipment that you'll want to invest in is some weights. And this is where people are usually a little bit hesitant because weights do tend to get expensive and not everybody wants to invest the money. But it is important if you're serious about building strength to limit impact on your joints, that you have some resistance that's heavier than the bands themselves. And so that's where having a set of either dumbbells or kettlebells can be very beneficial. And again, most of the exercises I do, they can be used interchangeably, whether you like dumbbells or you like kettlebells. And if you have the resources, it's nice to have a set of different weights, just because different body parts and different exercises, you might use a lighter weight for one versus a heavier one for another. But if you only wanted to buy one or two, usually what I recommend for my clientele, which again ranges from about 35 to 65, is having what would be a medium to heavy weight. So for that clientele, it's usually around 35 to 45 is a nice medium to heavy weight that'll allow you to add significant resistance to a lot of your exercises so that you can really start to build strength to limit impact on your joints. So one more great piece of equipment to have in your home gym, which isn't 100% necessary, but it's really beneficial if you're someone who's nervous about performing a lot of these exercises like squats or reverse lunge. Having something like a suspension trainer or a TRX that you can hook up into your home gym setup is really helpful, because it allows you to perform a lot of these movements in a much safer environment, meaning you can use your arms to support you while you start to build strength and confidence with movements like the squat and the reverse lunge, or primarily what I do. It also has a lot of great upper body movements that you can use with it as well. So again, not 100% necessary, but if you have space for it, these are really, really helpful to help you build strength and your confidence in your movements before you move on to the weighted variation. And there you have it. That is all the equipment that you need for your home gym setup. With all of this equipment, you can perform about 99% of the exercises that I prescribe in my plan, and you can use in other people's programs as well. And like I said, the reason that I like this equipment is that it doesn't take up a lot of space. It can fit in the size of a closet. And in comparison to other home gym equipment that you might be looking at or that you can buy, it's really not that expensive. So again, if you do have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to help.